I got a red dot.
Okay. That's not on.
Nope. Let's see.
Must be starting salt somewhere.
There is a power button. You have to hold it down on two sides or something.
Power.
I'll try the red button.
There we go, power. Now we got red.
Yeah, that should do it.
We're blinking.
Okay.
I hope you're here.
If not, we got the backup.
Its lines are moving, right?
Yep.
So that's a good sign.
Yep. All right.
There's light in the recorder.
Okay, the time is 6:08. We'll call the meeting to order. The three commissioners are the only ones here tonight. And to start off, we'll talk about old business. Additional Firefighters Fund Committee.
I'm not sure we put it up to the public yet to see what kind of input or interest.
Or I guess we should word something.
I think that's why we put it on tonight, was the wordsmithing. How we thought of it.
I don't know how we put it, but
Yeah, because I don't like the how we have it on the minutes as something. It's a committee that should be looking at manning, future manning, or manning of some kind, because it is talking about what is the likelihood or sustainability beyond the 3 years. They may decide we just can't afford to based on taxes, and we have to look at other options. So
Yeah.
it's not just to sustain, it's the feasibility or sustainment.
additional funding for beyond, I'm just taking notes. I don't know.
Maybe safer sustainment committee, or safer grant sustainment.
Safer grant.
Yeah, I mean, that,
Or safer positions,
Well,
sustainment.
maybe it'll just come out of us just brainstorming. You know, you just said something that I thought was good.
Safer sustainment committee?
No,
Okay.
staffing, it has to do with staffing.
Yeah.
We can go back. He said something, my fingers weren't fast enough. Committed to work on additional funding or beyond the life of the safer grant. Funding or staffing or beyond the life of the safer grant.
you gotta, that's what it's for, actually, to look for the future.
Yeah.
So that would be the description of the committee.
Yeah.
It sounds like where he's going with that. But you do have to name it in some fashion, and
Yeah, but
it's
that's-
very political how you
Yeah.
do that, and that's a concern.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to come up with, it would have been kind of curious to see if we've even gotten any applications for
Right.
the one position. In a sense, we have 5 positions open.
Correct.
One is an immediate hire, well,
Right, non-safer grant.
yeah, not safer, currently funded,
Yeah, correct, yeah.
just to put us back at par.
Mhm.
Because we're going into Paul's favorite thing, I'm sure, overtime. So,
Yeah.
work committee, I'd have to go back and,
Staffing sustainment committee? I'm just,
I'm just throwing this out there, Tnfd staffing 2024 and beyond. Is that when the end of the grant is?
the grants will start in 2021,
That's 1, 2, 3.
so it would be 2024, yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. Just looking, anything we can do.
Would you say staffing 2024 and
Yeah,
beyond?
just TNFD staffing 2024 and beyond. Yeah, how often would they meet? Initially, probably once a month, twice a month.
Probably, they have 3 years to figure it out. I think that, I mean,
3 years.
because it would be the implementation,
Plan for
theoretically, 2 years.
beyond the,
Yeah, because they'd have to come up something by the third year.
Right. To be,
Yep.
well, we'd have to have it kind of in place for the budgeting process.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to plant the seed.
The year before.
3 years to come up with a plan for the end of the Safer Grant. You just said,
Sustainability potential.
I was going to say,
Feasibility,
to lessen the burden on taxpayers.
It's more to assess the viability.
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
as much as possible. I'm just throwing everything out there and see what sticks.
Because it may come down to that they just can't afford to maintain it. So it is the viability of the program, of the personnel, staffing level.
So, can we afford to maintain the staffing level? Or,
And it may come down to the end of it, we can only afford 2 people. Or afford 1, it all depends.
Yeah.
I mean, the way things keep going up and up and up, insurance is higher and higher. And I think I've told the chief 100 times there are a lot of people at work that survive, but there are a lot of older people that are on fixed incomes. And that's hard on them.
isn't there a, I don't know what it's called, and I haven't had a chance to ask anyone in Northfield. But there's is it the Crossmill Village project?
Yes.
Is that senior housing? Or is it 55 plus?
55 plus.
How many houses?
I don't remember from the meeting. I know
Is that still going now? I thought it was shut down.
it was shut down. It's
And give it new life.
Okay.
rejuvenated. So they're trying to continue with the existing houses in the initial part. I think it's going to be like 12 houses initially, and then from there the sustainability will be depending on how fast the units are sold.
Well, this place up here on School Street, I think they out of 24 houses, I think last I heard they had 23 sold. So, but it's a good market right now. Who knows
Yep.
what it's going to be in 3 years? When you get the level of thing. I know that in Tilton, like a lot of people have their taxes included as part of their mortgage,
Mhm.
because that was one of our concerns with the July payment. What would it be? And it was actually pretty much spot on. It may have been a little behind, but now we got to wait and see what December brings, the second payment, because I don't know. In July people were still getting an extra
Stipends and stuff.
Yeah, they were getting stipends and $600 a week, but no one's gotten their whatever's coming down the pike. No one can agree on it, and who knows if it's not gonna be quick, whatever it is. So we have to watch that.
And you never know, 2 or 3 years from now, staffing of grants, there's all kinds of things. Or we may have to go back down. I mean, I was okay with 2 additional people. I was not okay with 4, but it was an all or nothing, and we really needed some bodies on additional per shift. So yes, that's something where the committee will decide whether,
They'll look at everything.
yeah, exactly.
I just hope they look at all options, like staggering the shifts. Maybe you could stagger the shifts so you could cut the overtime in half.
Mhm.
I mean, when the guys are taking their vacations, you don't know when they're gonna be sick, but if you could cut that in half, you got, 3, 6, 9, 12 guys.
Mhm.
And if they all have 3 weeks vacation a year, That's a fair amount of time, so you should be able to figure out. I always started staggering, one guy staggered every 12 hours or something like that, if you could do that, if it would come out.
Well, that's what we were looking at. With 2 people, you could have done the daytime, a 12-hour shift, and then you would have the 2 people with it. Out of an 8-day thing, they would have worked out 4 10s or 3 12s and then flopped, so that it would work out to about a 40-hour week.
Yeah, yeah.
It wouldn't help you at nighttime, so that would be a downside to it. I mean, right now, we have Kelly days in our plan somehow, which I never understood the Kelly day schedule. It was always confusing to me.
Yeah, I know it is very confusing.
I think most.
No, a lot of them do like 2 days on, or like 1 day, 1 full 24-hour, 3 shifts, and then you're back on. So every 4th day for a 24-hour. Or some do days and nights, and those do.
What? 1, 2 off.
Yeah, they do that, but then there's a skip day in between and all that, and it's just. But that's not my place. It's how we do it. But I
There's
think.
so many different ways, and I think it's set up, over the years, it got set up for the firefighters.
It did, so that they weren't losing an entire weekend, but.
And I think it's gotten out of hand quite a bit there, and I think there must be a way out there so you could cut, the overtime is staggering. Let's put it that way. 180, 190,000 is a lot of money for overtime. That's a lot. I mean, our highway department, police department don't get that.
But it's very typical in the fire service all around that.
Just based on their hours alone, if they work 42 hours a week, they get 2 hours overtime a week times 12. That's 24.
It doesn't quite penalize them that way. But what it does is when they have a callback, because we have such a small call force, if we did mandatory callback and they came in, then there's probably based on their agreement, they probably have, okay. So
I think it's 2 hours.
a 2-hour minimum when they come back on that.
But even if it was a call person that came in to cover, like when they do I'm sure you get the text, the recall for station coverage. If someone comes in that's a full-timer or a career firefighter,
Right.
they get a minimum of 2 hours overtime.
Exactly, right.
If someone from the call force comes in, they get whatever the current rate is.
Right.
Which is cheaper, but it's, but during the day, we know that it's minimal.
Right, and that's why we were trying to support the daytime, higher call usage period, when you didn't have that support personnel as much.
So, I mean, as we found out a couple months ago, that, okay, we have, 12 people, but, when it comes time to drive a rig, there's only 2 or 3, 4 people that can do it.
Right.
So,
I think with the committee, that's the biggest thing, is figuring out now what kind of representation on the committee too. That's probably something that should be discussed in open public of what we're kind of looking for. You're definitely looking for public representation because they're representing the taxpayers. You probably want, I would recommend at least one person from full-time, one person from a call force.
That'd be nice.
Because they bring a different mentality to the.
You'd have to do it that way, because you would not take somebody up that's a full-timer, not put them on there, because it's
You need to
discrimination.
get their buy-in, right. That's the whole thing, and that's the whole advantage what we had with the station, is you had the buy-in from all the different personalities. Now, with that, do we need a commissioner on there? Or
So what do we say, you need a career firefighter?
career, yeah. That's
Yeah.
It depends on, well,
What was the other one?
call firefighter,
Yeah,
members of public.
that's good.
well, you know, it's like,
Yeah, you can have
it's
multiples of that.
the building committee there. Isn't it good to have a representative from the board be on there? I mean, does it make sense? I mean, at least you know what's going on, and
So, yes, it's a benefit. A downside to some of our other committees is like the SCBA committee and the engine committee. there was not minutes. So no matter what we do with this, I would recommend that they are recorded, we get minutes, and regular updates of where the progress is, because that's part of our bylaws, is that we should be doing that kind of recording and updates, and that's where I think with the engine committee, it was kind of tossed into our laps at the last minute without a lot of information ahead of times, without stuff we could read into it, into the questions. I mean, we finally asked for the schematics near the end to digest, but seeing minutes, and that's like the station committee, I had to write minutes for it when there's times when I was running the meeting and writing minutes because Lisa was running the projector, and we still had all these recordings, and Beth was helping out with interpreting that. So we definitely want, I would recommend, we definitely want it recorded, and
Minutes, yeah.
I think any committee the commissioners set up, it's the best way of doing it, just because then there's no he said, she said, or, well, this is what we're doing, and if the committee members thought otherwise.
Yeah, I agree.
But you also, the chief, you'll probably want him on there, but that could affect when they meet and how often, because he already has a lot of meetings, but I would recommend administrative personnel there. I mean, it could be even Deputy Robinson, Deputy Joubert, or the chief, but you should have someone from that administrative command role with input, is my thoughts.
Yeah, I there again, the chief has his hands full. I'd like to see one of the deputies take it. That, to me, that would be, well, it's
Deputy Joubert has his hands full. So,
yeah, I know he does.
So, and Mike, Mike's he's a, Deputy Robinson is a volunteer for, I hate to use that word. Yeah.
Great call.
Call company.
He's on the call company, he's the chief of the call company. And,
But he's been on a long time. And
no, he does, and
yeah.
he has
He
years.
has
some
many
ideas.
different roles that he's filled
Oh,
throughout.
he's been the chief
Exactly.
4 or 5 times, just over filling in while they find
Right,
an issue.
so that's what I mean, is he
Yeah.
understands budgeting and things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, so he is that
Yeah.
potential, I mean, but I think we should try to have some representation of that level, of the budget side of things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just typing up the numbers.
Yep.
I don't know how this will work. I'm just putting it up.
A chief officer representative.
Change that just to Word.
Yeah.
Because of the pages for a Mac.
And I'm a firm
Well, that's
believer.
is that an iPad?
This is, yeah.
I don't think we ought to, I mean, we can't have 15, 20 people on there, but
No.
I think there ought to be at least, God, that's tough. I would say somewhere around 6 to 8. 8 would be,
I like an odd number.
Yeah.
okay, let's say 7 or 9.
Well, right now you have 3 people, a chief officer representative, a career, and a call, so there's 3. So if you had 6 from the public, that would give you a 9.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we had for the station committee too, is, and so that was pretty good diversity with that. I mean, from there, it's going to see how many people are really interested in coming in as part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can fill the 6, then a committee of up to 9,
Yeah. Just
or
like
a
that.
preferred committee of 9, so that we're not locking ourselves into an up or a down,
Yeah.
and then see what the input coming into people is.
Would a commissioner be a non-voting member, maybe?
Well, that's something,
That would make it 10, but a non-voting member, maybe.
so the way they voted to do it last time, the committee kind of set up what they wanted to do for the station, and they voted, the chief was a non-voting member. He was there for his information portion of it, and they had me still be a voting member, which I had mixed feelings of. And I really didn't even want to chair the committee because I wanted to have that separation of roles, but they're like, I know, the commissioner's here, you really should be the chair of the committee. I'd say leave it up to the committee when they get started
Yeah.
to figure out how they want to make it happen. And it just fell into place with the station committee. And I mean, it depends on who you have on the committee for the diversity. So, a question or concern is which commissioner would be inclined to do this. I'm not as good with the overtime site and things like that of the paying. It's not my strong area. I mean, I could dig into it if I had to. I don't know, you seem to be very in depth with that. I didn't know your availability and stuff. I mean, I'm
No,
more-
I'm available anytime. I have no, I mean, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, so I am free pretty much.
you just seem to be more on top of the overtime, the calculations and
Yeah.
percentages than I am. I mean, I'm more following the regulations and that kind of things a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to, but I know you have a lot of committees and stuff you're on as well.
Well, to figure that out when we get to it.
Yeah, we can figure that
Okay,
out.
so a representative
Yeah,
commissioner.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so does that kind of get us, and when do we want to post this information or try to have letters of intent or inquiries back by? Where do you want to go? No?
I got it. The problem is, I'm just taking out, so our next meeting is.
Our next-
meeting is the 19th?
Well, our next,
Well, that's what the water district.
yep, and then the 27th is a budget meeting. Our next scheduled meeting is November 10th, which is about 3 weeks away. That's
So-
probably a good turnaround.
Well, here's my thought, that when you're getting into this, if you're gonna start getting into the I don't know, who knows what it's gonna be, the craziness of the holidays.
Mhm.
And it may get lost in the shuffle where if you kind of wait until January to post it, well, they could probably get it in there before Thanksgiving. Well, I could whip this up into something and give it to Kathy to distribute.
I'd say we maybe ask for letters of intent or interested parties to contact the district, but before the next regular scheduled meeting of the 10th.
Well, I was just thinking if you can get it into the Winnisquam Echo, because all they seem to be doing lately is running press releases as their newspaper method of operation.
Oh, I don't follow the
Yeah, they had a reporter, Donna Rhodes, and
Yep.
she's no longer employed by them.
Oh,
And they just run, it's basically just press releases that, if Spalding puts out something, that's, that may be the headline. If Belmont,
Yeah.
does something, that may be the headline. If-
yeah,
I
we
don't know
can
what
get in
towns
there
they
as
cover.
well. I mean,
Yeah.
we can put it on our webpage. There's a few of the Tilton Talking and Northfield Talkings that once we have the link on our webpage, we could
Yep.
look into the feasibility discussion, or once we have the wording of it, we'll kind of put that in as a link. Looking for interested public to, I mean, I can't speak for him, but I think Kevin LaChapelle might be interested in something like this, but if he was, I mean, he also brings a good budgeting piece of it.
Mhm.
And that's what you want people with different backgrounds,
Yeah.
as part
And
of
he
it.
does have, yeah, I mean, like I said, he was over in Franklin, so they have a lot of things over there that we probably don't, that, hey, you come up with some ideas.
All right. So, do we want to shoot for the 10th as our trying to hear back from people? That's about 3 weeks away.
Well, I guess we have to kind of come up with a definition of what these people are going to be doing. So
Okay.
I got to shoot that out. Hopefully, if I can get it out by,
Hello.
Hi,
if I can get
voices again.
with a ghost to the town hall. What did we say? When's our next budget meeting?
Our budget meeting is the 27th.
So if I can get something by the 27th, well, that would be tough to get by the 10th, but
Yeah, at that point you'd be looking at by December 1st.
when's our first, is that our first meeting in December?
Yep. So get something kind of drafted up, review it on the 27th, and then submit it in intent of people's intent by 1 December. From there, the committee takes off and figures what
Yeah.
approximate monthly meetings, and just trying to, a 2-year plan to feasibility study and maintain, and then funding potentials. So about 2.5 years.
It's 3 years, yeah.
It's tight.
Oh wait, is it election year again? So they may be giving out more money. 20, whatever.
So you.
Oh, 2024 is the election year.
All right, so draft review on 10/27. And then from there, we can decide if we just want to post it, and then intent by 1 December.
What's the date on the draft review?
Draft review is 10/27. I'll actually give you my copy to take with you, and then intent replies by 12/1. I think it's a good month to put it out there.
Let's say, yeah, 12/1.
Yeah.
At 4 p.m.
Sure.
You know, it'd be a good, some of these people that have a lot to say, I'm not gonna mention names, but they're the ones that, this would be the opportunity for them to get on there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, instead of coming and saying stuff, you guys don't do this, 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 well, come in and you can be part of it,
Yep.
so.
I actually had some of those with my station committee, and that was a good
Yeah,
benefit.
I think it is. I think, people, they can voice their opinion and,
Alrighty, so I think that covers everything we need for that.
Yep.
Okay. Actually, I'm gonna give you this one to take
There
with
you go.
you too. There you go. Technology these days. Take photos of everything. Pick 'em up. If not, I can scan it.
I can zoom in, yeah, if I zoom in. it's fine.
Okay, alright.
okay, that's it for that. New business, sign the manifest. She didn't have them done, so that's not gonna happen.
So then,
Okay, the non-public session per RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C, disposition reports.
and then, do you have the 2C reference of what?
Yeah, so the reason is matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. Roll call vote.
Okay, roll call, vote.
I'm in favor of non-public.
Byron, yes.
I'm a yes.
Okay.
Now we have to,
Remove public meeting tape if applicable.
Yep, so now we pause both, because we gotta come back out after.
Enter non-public session at 6:36.
Alright. Okay, you got a red light here.
guess it's on.
Hello? Nope.
No, you guys hit the red button. No.
I think we did.
Hello? We're coming out of non-public session at 7 o'clock. Make a motion made to seal the minutes.
There's no reason to.
There's no reason to.
You don't always have to seal the minutes, only if you're worried about,
I mean, we didn't discuss
Well-
anything.
I think motion is second because it determined that the divulgence of this information would likely would affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
alright, I'll make a motion to seal the minutes.
I'll second it. Write this down. Roll call vote to seal the minutes.
Aye.
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 Let's see.
passed, these minutes be posted by. All right,
And then we're back to not, yeah.
yep. All right, what else do we have?
We have nothing to action coming out of non-public, because that's normally when you would action a vote or something coming out of it. And there was nothing at this time.
I guess,
Okay, so everything-
Oh, well, this says next meeting is August 27th,
October 27th.
October 27th, but there is a special meeting prior to that. So that, the October 27th is budget workshop,
Yep.
but prior to that is October 19th, a special meeting with the Water District.
All right.
That's at 6 o'clock up here at the Water District. Yep.
Yes. Nothing else.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We are out of session, or
7:02.
7:02.
All right.
All right. Well, that's right, that's not recorded.